Chapter 1, Part 2. As I drew in my breath with a short, quick gasp of delight, I heard my brother, who was standing beside me, say softly, "Well?" And looking up, I discovered he was watching me with keen enjoyment. I had, in my great surprise and delight, wholly forgotten his presence. Recalled to myself by his question, I faltered, "Oh, Frank, that when such an overpowering sense of God's goodness and my own unworthiness swept over me, that I dropped my face into my hands and burst into uncontrollable and very human weeping." "Ah," said my brother, in a tone of self-reproach, "I am inconsiderate." And lifting me gently to my feet, he said, "Come, I want to show you the river." When we reached the brink of the river, but a few steps distant, I found that the lovely sward ran even to the water's edge, and in some places I saw the flowers blooming placidly down in the depths among the many-colored pebbles with which the entire bed of the river was lined. "I want you to see these beautiful stones," said my brother, stepping into the water and urging me to do the same. I drew back timidly, saying, "I fear it will be cold." "Not in the least," he said with a reassuring smile. "Come." "Just as I am?" I said, glancing down at my lovely robe, which to my great joy I found was similar to those of the dwellers in that happy place. "Just as you are," with another reassuring smile. Thus encouraged, I too stepped into the gently flowing river, and to my great surprise found the water, in both temperature and density, almost identical with the air. Deeper and deeper grew the stream as we passed on, until I felt the soft, sweet ripples playing around my throat. As I stopped, my brother said, "A little farther still." "It will go over my head," I expostulated. "Well, and what then?" "Well, I cannot breathe under the water. I will suffocate." An amused twinkle came into his eyes, though he said soberly enough, "We do not do those things here." I realized the absurdity of my position, and with a happy laugh said, "All right, come on," and plunged headlong into the bright water, which soon bubbled and rippled several feet above my head. To my surprise and delight, I found I could not only breathe, but laugh and talk, see and hear as naturally under the water as above it. I sat down in the midst of the many-colored pebbles and filled my hands with them as a child would have done. My brother lay down on them, as he would have done on the green grass, and laughed and talked joyously with me. "Do this," he said, rubbing his hands over his face and running his fingers through his dark hair. I did as he told me, and the sensation was delightful. I threw back my loose sleeves and rubbed my arms, then my throat, and again thrust my fingers through my long loose hair, thinking at the time what a tangle it would be when I left the water. And then the thought came, as we at last rose to return, what are we to do for towels? For the earth thoughts still clung to me, and I wondered too if the lovely robe was not entirely ruined. But behold, as we neared the shore and my head once more emerged from the water, the moment the air struck my face and hair, I realized I would need no towel or brush. My skin, my hair, and even my beautiful garments were soft and dry, as before the water touched them. The material out of which my robe was fashioned was unlike anything I have ever seen. It was soft and light and shone with a faint luster, reminding me more of silk crepe than anything I could recall, only infinitely more beautiful. It fell about me in soft, graceful folds, which the water seemed to have rendered even more lustrous than before. "What marvelous water! What wonderful air!" I said to my brother as we again stepped upon the flowery sward. "Are all the rivers here like this one?" "Not just the same, but similar," he replied. We walked on a few steps, and then I turned, looked back at the shining river flowing on tranquilly. "Frank, what has that water done for me?" I said. "I feel as though I could fly." He looked at me with earnest, tender eyes as he answered gently, "It has washed away the last of the earth life, and fitted you for the new life upon which you have entered." "It is divine," I whispered. "Yes, it is divine," he said.